evening, race fans, and welcome back to another Inside edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast with Kip Thompson. Tonight's show is being brought to you in part by Barrier Fence Supply out of Supply, North Carolina. They are a huge wholesaler and distributor of the aluminum fencing and also working on some big deals right now to implement vinyl fencing into their lineup. And we're going to hear from them a little bit later on in the show tonight. Tonight, it's a different setting. We are not in our studio, the Voice of Victory Lane podcast studio. We are live here on a Tuesday night. Practice is going on now inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. We are getting ready for 2023 racing season. North Carolina Speed Weeks kicks off tomorrow with feature racing. Wednesday, cars probably going to hit the track somewhere around 6 o'clock. But tonight we wanted to do a special show here from the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. In the past, we've done two different shows. One was with Charlie Council, the race director here inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway, to give everyone some insight as to what it takes to run a race on any given race day. We also talked to firefighter / first responder Lloyd Fatback Matthews to talk about safety for our fans and drivers here inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And tonight, we're super excited to have Wayne Gray Jr. here with us, also known as the Dirt Doctor. Very, very close friend of mine for many, many years, almost like a brother. Man, welcome to the show. We're super glad to have you here with us. The Fayetteville Motor Speedway is a place that is home to you and to me. And in the last couple of years, it has developed attitude, character for the racetrack. Since the new configuration, when Dave Mitchell came here, it is a place that now that people have always looked forward to coming here, but now it's even more so because it's shorter, but yet while being shorter, it's wider. There's a little bit more banking to it. And we had a couple of the races last year, Wayne, that were just really phenomenal. People are still talking about the Carolina Clash Super Late Model race, talking about the Cash Money 100 with the Steel Block Bandits. And, you know, you're a big part of that as to what it has taken to get this surface the way it is. And let's just talk about, you know, for our fans and our viewers that don't really know what it takes, man, to prep a racetrack, the hours, the countless hours, man, that you spend here. And, man, we appreciate what you do. You know that. Yeah, but let's talk about what it takes to get this place race ready on a race day.
It does take a lot, but I do appreciate you having me on the show, Kip. And you are like a brother.
I appreciate it.
But it takes an awful lot. I mean, you know, hey, I move dirt all day long in my business. And moving dirt on the job, you know, that's a certain way you got to do it. But prepping a racetrack is completely different than just moving dirt, you know. We're moving dirt, but you got to get the right amount of water in it and, you know, get it graded just right the way you want it. And then you got to got to prep it and keep the order to it. And, you know, I can't do it by myself. Freddie Maynard, he's one of the best. He can really get a lot of water in it when you want him to.
Oh yeah.
But without Freddie and Dave does a lot on helping on the racetrack too. But it's a lot of man hours. You know, just like this week, you know, we worked last week on it, worked Thursday night, getting it ready for practice, turn around and come back Friday, worked on it Friday to get it ready for Saturday's practice. And
you guys were here Monday night, last night, getting ready for practice tonight.
So yeah, that's right. So it's a lot of work to do, and you know, I'm just thankful to be blessed to be able to do it.
Well, when you talk about a guy like Freddie Maynard, you know, I've been coming here to the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. I was trying to count up. I don't even know how many years it is. I know it was in the early 90s. And I can probably count on one hand, honestly, one hand with some fingers left over probably, how many times I've been to this racetrack that I did not see Freddie Maynard. It has been very, very few.
Very few.
Very few. And he does put in a lot of time here. And, man, I know you do too. But your passion for the sport, you know, you used to drive a race car.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a little bit of an advantage, you know, for you to prep a racetrack because you know what a racer wants. You know what a racer wants to feel. You know how the track needs to be for a car to get in the racetrack instead of being on the racetrack. And so talk about that a little bit.
I do feel like that probably helps me a lot. You know, just from my past racing and I still love it. And you know, you never know. You might see me back in 147 with, but
Y'all heard that.
Not
Y'all heard
nothing,
that.
not nothing full time, but I've had a few offers to try run a little bit. I wouldn't mind, just doing it a little bit, but because I do miss it some. But I feel like that feel like that has given me a edge on how to prep the racetrack, because I can kind of see where it needs to be graded here and there. And there at Startwood we had some little swales and stuff there we had to work through and get it out. But I think we pretty much got it out now with this new dirt we've got on it. And like I say, I can kind of tell when we got enough water. Sometimes, we miss it. It's just like anything. But for the class race and the cash money, I think we pretty much hit it head up, 100%.
There is no doubt that on those particular 2 weekends, and I'm not saying that the racetrack has been bad every other race other than that, but on those 2 particular races with the Carolina Clash, Super Late Models, and especially, man, the Steel Block Bandits, the Cash Money 100, 80 laps into the race of a 100-lap feature, the cars are still side by side. They're 3 wide in the corners. Yeah. We ran a 100-lap feature race here. The Sullivan Memorial, Ricky Sullivan Memorial race, here inside of Field Motor Speedway. We were so excited to have the Cash Money 100 come back to its original home. 100 laps on dirt, and everyone is calculating in their mind and thinking tire game, tire management. Do you know we ran 100 laps race and did not have a right rear tire blown the whole entire night? So you guys are being touted for having something figured out. I know that Joey Chapman has raved about it. If I called him tonight after I leave practice here tonight and talk about, hey man, remember that race we had last year? Oh man, he'll be talking about it. So you guys got something figured out there. I don't know if it was something that you did different, but there was a cushion up top all the way around the racetrack, and man, it was no other word to describe it other than awesome.
Yeah, I think definitely. When we changed dirt right before we're really in the break that we had when Dave goes to Maine hunting or whatever,
the month of August.
I come out here and took my boys' crew or whatever. We worked like 2 days putting new clay on it. And we found some real good stuff out there. And I think that's a lot of it, because you got to have good dirt. I don't care what you got. And I know down this way we've got a lot of sand. We just
sand and clay don't mix up.
No. And so the only way we can make it work is to get the right amount of water in it. And them nights. Now, like I said, the Cash Money 100, I think the smart thing was me and Dave and Jim had talked about it, and for the 100 lap, because we were worried, was the boys going to be able to make it on a 70 tire. So we decided to, after we had all the qualifying and everything done, is re-prep the track. So it took about 45 minutes to an hour, but we re-prepped it, and that made an awesome race. The boy that won the race was on a 1350. 100 laps. He could have ran another 50 laps.
Okay, Tyler Bear.
Yeah. But I think the new clay and just, we've hit it pretty good on getting the right amount of water in it. And that's really what made, in the Clash, with Joey's crowd, he's got some good boys racing that thing, and they'll move around. You get boys like Willie Milligan in there, and just they'll move around, and if they get moving around, Ethan was running that. Ethan Wilson was running that night. Him and Willie run side by side for I don't know how many laps, and it was just.
And even Rambo on some restarts, was really, really good. And I remember, specifically when you start to talk about pointing out that Clash race, that track was so good that night. But I also have to give props to Willie Milliken, driver of the number 1 MJ Price Longhorn. That race car that night, it was good anywhere you put it on the track. He could go to the bottom. He could go to the middle. He could go to the top. He could race outside. He could, and just really, really did a phenomenal job. And, a lot of times it's kind of funny to put it in perspective where people can understand. So many people worry about tires and the setup of the car. But based on the track conditions, sometimes that driver has to show up too.
He does.
And he knows how to do that. And there's countless others who know how to do that as well.
That's plenty of
But I just remember specifically, you jogged a memory when you said about him and Ethan Wilson, man, they were putting on a show. And I mean,
well, Jeff Smith,
Jeff Smith,
he come from the 8th or 9th, and he was side by side pretty much the whole race with somebody.
Oh yeah, those guys put on a phenomenal show that night, and it was just it's still a race right now. That so many people were talking about, and that's one of the greatest races, if not the best races I've ever seen at Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And then lo and behold, the weekend of October 22nd, the Fayetteville Motor Speedway rolls out a repeat performance with track prep, and it was just really, really an awesome show. And I know it just takes so much to do that one time, but to repeat it, and hopefully maybe you guys got that thing down. You kept some notes, and you know exactly what to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of prep it a little different when you got the limiteds and the super series. Now, like I feel like these first couple of nights of the speed weeks this week, I think we're probably going to try to keep it a little bit drier, because the legend cars, they like it a little bit drier. The crate car seems to like it a little bit, to kind of let it get a little shine to it, get a little black, get a little slick. They like it a little bit better. But, come Friday and Saturday, we're going to have to juice up the water a little bit for the limiteds, because, they just need more traction because they got more horsepower. And so I kind of feel like that's what me and Dave had a plan, and that's kind of what we're going to shoot for. Hopefully that's what it works out. But like I say, dealing with dirt, you never know.
Well, race fans, what we're going to do, we'll take a real quick break. We hear from our show sponsor tonight, Barrier Fence Supply out of Supply, North Carolina. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Wayne Gray Jr. a little bit more in depth of track prep procedures here inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And we're going to talk about kicking off the 2023 season here with North Carolina Speed Weeks and the upcoming events for 2023 right here inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. We'll be right back after this short message from our sponsor on the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Barrier Fencing Supply is a fencing wholesaler and distributor based out of Supply, North Carolina. Whether you need fencing, fencing products, fencing accessories, or various other construction materials related to your fencing needs, we have the products you are looking for at today's most competitive prices around. Ask us today about bulk pricing packages. Call 910-269-8661. Contact us by email at sales@barrierfencingproducts.com. Barrier Fencing Supply, proud supporter of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. All right, race fans, welcome back to part 2 of another Inside edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. I'm Kip Thompson. Tonight's special guest, Wayne Gray Jr., here inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. Practice is going on as we speak right now, as we gear up for the 2023 season here inside the Carolina Bull Ring. North Carolina Speed Weeks, man, starts tomorrow night. Going to be running the 602 Sport Mods, the Legends, and the 602 late models. It's going to be an awesome show. And we're doing another show here tonight to talk in depth of what it takes to put on a show, to prep a racetrack, just like we talked with Fatback Matthews and Charlie Council last year with Charlie. It was a really great show talking about, from the time you open the gates and time to shut the lights off, what it takes to run a show. And again, man, you spend so many countless hours out here, and, people just don't understand, what it takes, to do this. So let's talk about, just so people get kind of like a general idea, like on race day or the week of a race, like when you come to the racetrack, the first thing you do, I guess I heard you say, you and I talk on the phone all the time and say, well, we're going to go bust up the racetrack, then we got to roll it down, then we got to seal it off. Talk about what those terms mean so our viewers can understand what it really takes to really from A to Z, starting from day one. We got an event coming up like this weekend. What do you guys do?
Most of the time we'll start, I'll start with the motor grader and we'll blade it and get it good and smooth all the way around. And then, and I know people say, well, what you going to blade it, get it smooth, then you're going to tear it up. But still, it just does better to have it smooth. And then when you bust it up, everything kind of comes back together smooth. If you've got a hole here and a hole there, when you bust it up, it just don't seem to work right. So we usually blade it. Then we'll usually put some water on it, and we'll either take the disc or we might take the sky fire to the motor grader, bust it up, get it opened up, and then get some water in it. Then you want to get some kind of down deep. we, say if we start on a Thursday, say if we're gonna have a race Saturday, we'll start maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Go and get some water down in it, and then we'll kind of get it smooth back off. We'll take the do-all usually after we get it disted up and get it wet. Run over it, bust it up, get all the big clogs down to small, fine stuff. Once you get it to fine stuff, then you can just kind of prep it in and just get your water down in it. Once you get your water down in it, then we'll kind of halfway seal it off. Like we might roll it down a little bit, we might blade it, but then when we get our moisture in the bottom of it where we want it, we just kind of leave that there. Then all we got to worry about is keeping that top layer, just keeping it wet enough, through the weekend and through Saturday that we can roll it down. That's the biggest thing you're working on then. Once you get the water in the bottom of it, because once you kind of seal it off, it ain't going down no further. So
and that also helps too. Sometimes I know I've heard you say before, well, I got to go over to the racetrack tonight. They're calling for a little bit of rain tomorrow to hopefully if we don't get enough rain, I got the racetrack sealed off good enough. So when you seal it off, when the rain hits the racetrack, it's just like it runs off instead of sitting into the racetrack. Is that right?
Yeah. Most of the time, if you get a heavy rain, when it's sealed off, it'll run off of the racetrack. Now, if you get when it's sealed off and you get a light rain and it just don't rain heavy, that rain will actually kind of penetrate into the racetrack because it sets there. It don't have time to, it ain't
doesn't have any momentum to roll off.
So when it sets there, now that can create a problem. It can help you, can hurt you. I mean, I've seen some nights that, you've been out here and we have a rain shower before we race. And man, we say, oh man, that thing will be right tonight, So it's just, it don't matter how you order it with a water truck or whatever. It ain't like Mother Nature. When the Lord blesses you with rain, it's equal. Mm-hmm. Every spot is the same. And that's the best water you can get on a racetrack. But, you don't want that on race day because that hurts everything. But that's definitely the way to, that's pretty much what we do every week. And then on, like I say, race day, Dave, he likes to practice on Friday night. So, we'll get it ready on Thursday, roll it down, practice Friday. Well, everybody leaves here at 11, 12 o'clock. Me and Freddie's still out there working. We got to go back and do everything we do in 3 or 4 days. We got to do it Friday night and Saturday.
In preparation for the event on
Saturday.
Right.
So you pretty much, you hope you've got enough water down in it on Friday night. So when it's sealed off, you can just crack it open and just work on that top layer.
Right.
That is the goal for Saturday.
Well, whenever you have like a practice on Friday, like you're talking about, and then you come back and you run a major event, on Saturday, knowing that, even after Saturday, you're back out there with the equipment again before you go home most times, because you're not going to come back over here on Sunday. You got to, have time, for yourself, because I know, you work all day, you come here to the racetrack and you do it, man, because you love it. I can't believe that guy spends up. He does it because he loves it. Yeah, I know him. Like I say, he's like a brother. I know him. But the other thing is too, and people don't understand. I mean, I've even seen, equipment here at the facility on the racetrack all the way to the end of the road. I mean, this guy blades the driveway, so you got a smooth surface, after rain, it's rutted. Yeah. And, just try to make it a good experience for everybody, even for the fans coming in. And then also, I mean, it starts out at the asphalt pavement, comes all the way down the racetrack. And then you've got a smooth surface for people to ride in, and then you've got a stage, as we call the racetrack, to put on a performance and put on a big, huge show for our race fans. So, as practice continues right now, we are gearing up for the 2023 season. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, the green flag is going to drop on the 2023 season. We got the North Carolina Speed Weeks coming up. Then we have the annual Nut Up or Shut Up. But talking about some of the bigger events, man, one of the 2 major events, man, they're very, very special to me and you both, is the Wayne Gray Memorial. And we honor your dad. Yeah. That's such a special deal for me because, man, he was like a daddy to me too, and love him, miss him. We talk about him all the time. Yeah. And we got that one coming up, and then we're going to have the 3rd annual Big C Memorial. Yeah. The Carolina Clash should be here for that, man. That's going to be a big, big, huge event. Yeah. And I know both of those events, man, are very special. I know it's special to me. I know they're special to you too. For sure. And I'm looking forward to those, aren't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't wait for them. They're going to be some good ones.
Oh yeah, those are we all those, and I guess it's you got bigger cars here that draw the crowd, but a big majority of those people come because who those events are held for, and it's a testimony.
I think so. I do.
It's
I
a
really do.
testimony to the life and the kind of people that your dad was, the kind of person Big C was. Can you just imagine in heaven right now the conversation them two have on a daily basis? Oh my gosh. I could only imagine. And it's always fun because how this relationship started, with me and you, and it kind of evolved around Kemp Lamb and Big C. And if it hadn't been for them, we wouldn't have met,
That's right.
I'm just thankful that, God puts people in your life for certain situations and puts certain people together. And it's been a long lasting friendship, lifelong friendship, man, for a long time. It means a lot to me. And we always get to see Kemp come back, to where we all kind of started here.
That's right.
And it'll be we got a lot of great events. And again, like I know people who are watching the show, if you haven't looked at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway's schedule for 2023, we have the Carolina Clash Super Late Model Dirt Series will be here inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway 4 times this year, and 4 times in their visits here, it'll be $27,500 up to win Super Late Model racing right here inside Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And we already know that the Cash Money 100 is slated to be back here at its original track in October again. The Steel Block Bandits Bad Company Tour 2023 will round up the season here. It'll be right before we'll have our Food Coma come back again, in November. And also, again, this year we've got the U.S. INEX Legend Nationals will be back at Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And that's going to be a great show. That really, really turned out. I just hope maybe that this year Mother Nature will cooperate with us maybe a little bit better than it did in 2022.
Exactly. And I had a golf trip scheduled for that weekend, so I was kind of not here. So I'll have to be sure I'm here for. I mean, it was kind of bad on them that first couple of nights.
Well, I mean, you have 4 inches of rain in 36 hours, and you still try to put on an event, But hats off to Dave Mitchell and the staff who were here, because he's a racer. He's a racetrack promoter, no doubt. He's a racer too. And he wanted to make sure that he got that race in at all costs, and we were able to finish it up on Sunday, and it ended up, being a great show. But tonight we wanted to talk about what it takes to give you guys an inside look as what goes on race day, days before race, the weeks before race, the night after practice, what it takes to get all of this done. Fans don't just drive up and get into the grandstand and that track is just ready to run. It takes countless hours, multiple days throughout the week, throughout the night. I mean, it's a huge process. And I'm a little bit biased because I'm here at Fayetteville Motor Speedway, and I think we probably got the best crew working to do our surface with Wayne Gray Jr. and Freddie Maynard and Dave Mitchell and all the other people here that lend a hand to help out getting the surface ready. And we look forward to seeing every one of you guys in 2023. Be sure to go to YouTube, follow our page, like, share, and subscribe. Also, find our page on Facebook, and be sure to like and share the show tonight. Again, tonight's special guest, Wayne Gray Jr. of the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. Man, thank you so much, man, for taking time. I know we got a bunch of stuff going on out here, and cars are running around. I'm surprised people can't hear. I heard a couple of them go by here a while ago. But thanks, man, for taking the time, because I know you probably as soon as we get done and these guys get out of here, you'll be doing some more work here, because the green flag's going to drop tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
2023 race season is upon us. Again, Wayne Gray Jr. of the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. I'm Kip Thompson, Voice of Victory Lane Podcast. Tonight's show is brought to you by Barrier Fencing Supply out of Supply, North Carolina. Be sure to call them today for any fencing needs that you may have. Aluminum fencing, wholesaler, distributor, those guys have got you covered. And be on the lookout. They've got new stuff coming. A big deal working, bringing vinyl fencing to the forefront of what they have to offer. Be sure to look them up and call them today and tell them the Voice of Victory Lane Podcast sent you their way. Hey, come see us tomorrow night inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. The green flag drops for the 2023 season. And we thank everyone for watching. Again, Wayne Gray, I'm Kip Thompson, Voice of Victory Lane Podcast. We hope to see you soon here inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.